Okay, in this video we're going to look at word problems. Okay, and there are 3 steps to problem solving and solving word problems in particular. We're going to go through these steps in this video, but we're also going to use them a lot throughout the year. First one is you have to analyze, all right, and then you're going to actually calculate, and then you will evaluate. All right, and analyze is, in my opinion, the most important step in problem solving. Okay. So if we want to analyze, okay, what that means is that you have to identify what is known and what is unknown. All right? The known is where you start, and the unknown is where you're going. And it's always good to look at, okay, here's where I'm starting and here's where I'm going. Oftentimes you'll see in a problem that I'll write down, all right, P equals this, R equals that. I'll write down all the variables that I get, and then I'll often put, all right, I'm looking for letter V, or I'm looking for time, or T, or something, all right? You need to know where you're starting and where you're going. It's really important, okay? And then you gotta make a plan for getting from one space to the other, okay? Calculating is easy, okay? Usually you're doing a conversion of some type, and we'll do those a lot later, okay? You also might be using a certain equation. Okay, mostly you're just plugging in the numbers now once you figured out kind of your route of which way you're going to go. Evaluating then, okay, you have to ask yourself, is it reasonable? All right, does my number make any sense? I'll ask you that a lot throughout the years. Okay, throughout the year. I'll sit down and ask you, okay, you'll say, Miss Betts, how do I do this one? And then as I help you, I'll always ask, all right, does that make sense? Should this number be bigger or smaller than 1? Should my number be getting larger or should my number be getting smaller? Okay, think through, is that a reasonable outcome for that? Okay, that's also an important third step. All right, we're going to look at this first problem and I'm going to go through it. All right, we're actually going to look at this a little bit closer in a couple of chapters. So I'm going to use number 1 more as trying to figure out what's in the problem or reading through the problem than actually how the problem works. All right, because it's kind of a conversion problem, actually. All right, number 1, you're visiting Indianapolis for the first time. This is a nice day. You decide to walk from the Indiana State Capitol to the Murat Center for an afternoon performance. The shortest route from the Capitol to the theater is 8 blocks, so I usually underline, all right, that's 8 blocks. How many minutes will it take? So I'm looking for how many minutes will the trip take you if you can walk 1 mile in 20 minutes? Assume that 10 city blocks is 1 mile. Okay, so there's the pieces of information that are kind of important, that I pick out that are numbers or things that I might be using, all right? First up is the question, okay, I want to know how many minutes. So that's my thing here. I'm going to say minutes, all right? What do I know? Well, the problem tells me that I know, okay, that the route that I'm taking is 8 blocks. So I have 8 blocks to walk, and I want to know how many minutes will that 8 blocks take me? Okay? What else do I know? Well, I know that in 1 mile, you can walk 20, or it'll take you 20 minutes. All right? And I also know from that last part there that there are, in 1 mile, there are 10 blocks. All right? So, if I'm only walking 8 blocks is less than my mile because 1 mile was 10. So I know then that my answer better be less than 20 minutes, okay? Or less than 20 minutes, but still fairly close to it, okay? If you come out with an answer that's, half an hour, that's not right, all right? Because in 1 mile, I have 20 minutes, and I'm walking less than a mile, okay? So that's kind of how you would get the pieces from the actual problem, okay? There are a couple ways to do this, and like I said, we'll talk more about this next chapter, but what I would do is say, okay, there are 8 blocks, all right, and I want to know how many miles that is off the first thing, okay? And I know that there are 10 blocks in 1 mile, okay? So basically, if you don't know how to do that, you cross multiply and divide. You take 8 times 1 divided by 10. Okay, basically you'll get 8/10 of a mile. Okay, when I solve this one, 0.8 miles. Okay, well, there are 20 minutes in 1 mile, and I've got 0.8 miles. Okay, you can set up another ratio if you would like, or you can just say, well, I'm going to take that times 20, all right, and I know that that's going to give me what it is, because if I took it divided, my number wouldn't make any sense. Okay, so take it times 20, and you're looking at 16 minutes. And that makes sense, because it should be less than 20, but not too much less, all right? I said, don't get too caught up in the math there, because we'll do a little bit of that more later on in the year. All right? This one you should be able to do. It says the price of a pair of cheap shoes has increased by 15%. The original price of the shoes was $20. What is the new price? All right? So my shoes are 20 bucks. All right? For some reason, the shoes went up in price. So my final answer, okay, my new dollars should be greater than 20, right? Okay, and how much greater? Well, 15% greater. So how do I know what 15% of 20 is? All right, so 20 times 0.15, well, $3. So my shoes have gone up by $3. Okay, so what's the new price? Well, I gotta know, all right, well, they originally cost 20. They went up by $3, so now they cost me $23. Does that make sense? Is it greater than 20? Yes. My shoes now cost me $23. Most shoes don't go up in price, but it is what it is. Okay? Keep going. We're going to look at another kind of ratio-esque one here, all right? The ratio of boys to girls in your new class is 5 to 2, so that's a good piece of information. All right? I have 5 boys and 2 girls in the class. The sum of kids in the class is 28. Okay, so my total is 28, and I want to know how many boys are in the class. I always do this as I read the problem, otherwise I forget stuff. Okay, so I always take pieces out as I go. Okay, so I want to know X number of boys for a total of 28 people. Well, it's 5 to 2. So how many total do I have here? Well, I have 7 people, right? If I've got 7 people, okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. 2 of them are girls, 5 of them are boys. Okay, so if I have 7 total people, 5 of those are boys. Cross multiply and divide, a little bit of algebra. Basically, the section is algebra. Okay, I won't get too crazy with you on algebra, right? But you should know how to do a ratio. So 28 times 5, which is 140. Okay. 7 times x, 7x. Solve for x, divide by 7. Okay, x is 20. You have 20 boys in that group. Okay, you start off with what do I know? Okay, figure out your calculate, do your evaluating. 20 to 20 makes sense. 20 of those 28, yeah, because I should have more. That means I'm only going to have 8 girls. I have more boys than girls. I think that makes sense. All right, a lot of you do this next one for your test scores. Okay, you're taking 4 tests in Algebra 2, and they are scores of, I'm going to write them down. I got 89, I have 92, I have 78, and I have 83. The final is worth 2 test grades. So I put off the side here, my final is 2 grades. All right, what do you need to make on the final to make an A in your class? And we're just going to be easy and call an A and 90%. Okay, just go with it, all right? 90% for the A. So I want to get a 90. All right, I want to know what I have to get on my final. Well, the final counts for 2. That means I have 2 more scores that I'm going to add in there. Okay, and the overall average of all those have to be 90 to get a 90. All right. Well, how many scores is that going to give me? It's going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Divide by 6. And then just solve for x. Okay. You're going to have, if I add all those up, you have 342 plus 2x equals 90. Okay, that's over 6. I'm going to get rid of my 6, so I take both sides times 6 to get them across. All right, 90 times 6, so I keep going. 540 is 90 times 6. And I have 342 plus 2x. Subtract 342. And my calculator tells me that it's 198. 198 equals 2x. Divide both sides by 2. X is a 99. You have to get a 99% in order to get a 90 in the class. Okay, that's a weighted, what we call a weighted average. It's how you figure out your exam, what you have to get on the exam. You guys always do that every year for exams. Okay, what do I have to get? All right. One more. Okay, Jane spent $42 for shoes. This was $14 less than twice what she spent for a blouse. How much did she spend, or how much was the blouse? Okay, so she spent $42 on these shoes. And it was $14 less than twice what she spent for a blouse. Okay, so that means twice. It was twice. So my number should be getting bigger. That shirt was really expensive. So I think, okay, my number should be getting bigger. And how much bigger? Well, it's twice the price minus $14 because $14 less. So 42 times 2, okay, which is going to be 84, but it's $14 less than twice. So minus 14, 70. That shirt cost her $70.